It's time to get out of the comfort zone because these people aren't playing games.
9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job.
We're going to organize. Humanity's going to come together. We are swinging muskets here, toe-to-toe with the globalists. They're bloodied. We're bloodied. It is absolute, total war. Welcome. It is Thursday, January 19th, 2012. I'm Alex Jones, your host. This is Infowars Nightly News. Coming up after the break, investigative journalist and reporter Rob Dew will be interviewing another great investigative journalist, Pepe Escobar, on the incredible developments concerning the United States, Israel, England, and NATO moving towards war with Iran. Now, that doesn't mean it's a foregone conclusion, but the clock has moved a few minutes closer to midnight, and that leads us to our first story of the evening. ABC News, and this just broke in the last hour, is now reporting that U.S. commando team is getting close to the Iranian border. You know that proxy terror groups have been hired by the West, Israel and the U.S., to stage terror attacks inside Iran, including al-Qaeda groups they're using. An Army officer speaking on behalf of Special Forces confirmed Thursday that a team of highly trained personnel that excel in uncertain environments are operating near Iran. Spencer Ackerman just published the scoop on Wired's Danger Room blogs. They actually broke it. The primary day-to-day mission of the team, known as Joint Special Operations Task Force Gulf Coordinating Council, is to mentor military units belonging to U.S. oil-rich Arab allies who collectively are known as the Gulf Coordinating Council. Now, that's the folks they basically used, headed up by al-Qaeda, to invade Libya. And they're giving top secret clearance information, of course, on top of it, to the Muslim Brotherhood and others. And my point is, I'm told all day that I'm supposed to give up all my liberties and freedoms because al-Qaeda is going to get me. But then our own government is running these groups. And it's the same in every case. The underwear bomber on Christmas Day, U.S. government minion, comes out in congressional hearings. Ammar al-Awlaki dining secretly at the Pentagon, number 3 in al-Qaeda, Fox News, AP. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Again, more on Iran coming up with Pepe Escobar and Rob Dew. Let's go ahead and get into the latest on election 2012 and the Republican primaries, but we've got to go back in time to January 3rd. Where there was almost a statistical dead heat where the three top contenders, that being Mitt Romney in number 1, of course, the other little neocon in number 2, Santorum, and then Ron Paul number 3, just a few votes behind. And there were all these reports on local news confirming that in all these precincts that were pro-Ron Paul, just no votes got counted. They just disappeared. Of course, you're supposed to call them in from the caucus, but they'd put them in trucks and they'd disappear. And the Republicans counted it at a secret location. We played the clip of Karl Rove saying, well, it was a gentleman's agreement that Santorum was second place and Mitt Romney was first. And then really no mention of Ron Paul, who's since come in second in New Hampshire and is rising in the polls. And if the record of Mitt Romney simply comes out like it has on Gingrich or Perry, who dropped out, the Texas governor today, it's over. Ron Paul's in, and the major polls show he'll destroy, like no other Republican candidate, Barack Obama. So Ron Paul is this close if the establishment, corporate whore media, wouldn't engage in all this fraud and lies and deceit and blackballing and blacking out of the congressman. But there's new developments. In front of everyone today, they announced, you know what, a bunch of ballots didn't get counted at a bunch of different precincts around the state. And the major newspapers in the area, like the Des Moines Register, didn't even mention Ron Paul in third. And they continued in the news by saying, well, the election's unresolved, but It doesn't matter. We're just going to say it's Santorum, and we're just going to say that it's now Mitt Romney in second, and just forget Ron Paul, and we'll do whatever we want with the delegates. We're not going to tell you right now, but that's just the way it is. So now when there's fraud and they admit the election doesn't even count, they don't even get into the fraud part. It's just forget about it, go back to sleep. That's the way it is. Continuing here, Gingrich scandal could hand Ron Paul a shock second-place finish in South Carolina. What we've already known is now coming out on ABC News, one of the ex-wives, one of the, I guess, many ex-wives of Newt Gingrich, the globalist minion. Which one is the man and which one is the woman there? I think one of them is a woman posing as a man. When a man poses as a woman, it's called drag. What is it when a woman poses as a man? It's like that character on Saturday Night Live, Pat. That's an aging Pat. I've decided that maybe that's an aging Janet Reno. Is actually, I don't mean to be mean. I'm sorry. A little bit of comic gallows humor here. To be serious, they think she's dying of cancer at the time. Gingrich goes in, says, "I'm divorcing you," and then goes and tells his staff members who were on record that, well, she's too old and has cancer. I've got to have a hottie to sell myself to the public. And what was that do? Oh, okay, this one had MS and he left her. The other one had the cancer. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, the point is, don't get ill and don't need any help in death do us part, or a nudie will basically catapult you out of his life. But he's a frugal man. That's why he has $600,000 a month accounts at different jewelry shops for his new trophy wife. I mean, what vapid, empty, that's a new word, empty globalists these people are. Remember, it is teleprompter-free news. I want you to remember that. Okay, continuing here. Massive opposition research file on Romney hits internet, likely from the 2008 McCain campaign. And none of this is really a secret, though it is a mausoleum of skeletons coming out of that closet in a big way right now. Romney's pays almost no taxes, 15% or lower when a blue-collar worker pays more than that. He's got just untold millions in bank accounts in the Cayman Islands, you name it. Regular person tries that, you go to prison. But who do they just hire to replace the mob boss Daley for Obama as his head economic advisor? They hired the other head of Bain Capital, which Romney still owns part of. I mean, it's all one big, happy, disgusting family with these people. And now here's another report out of the opposition file. Romney parks millions in Cayman Islands. So there you have it. Continuing here, shifting gears into the SOPA bill. Lord Obama has gotten a lot of money from Hollywood, obviously, who supported hijacking the internet, banning free speech, getting rid of due process, letting them shut down any site they want as a big government excuse for censorship. And so now Hollywood is saying, well, we're not going to support you financially because Obama saw which way the wind was blowing and said he would not support SOPA now. The problem is he said he wouldn't sign the NDAA and did. He just knows Congress can't pass it right now, so it's all theater, and it's theater out of Hollywood. I mean, not that you would see theater out of Hollywood. I mean, no, they're not involved in theater, thespian, vaudevillian BSing, but there you have it. Conspiracy theory. I mean, Hollywood involved in theater. I apologize. Okay, let's continue here. Karl Rove wrote that last line. We actually have teleprompters everywhere in here. Speaking of globalist rats stabbing each other in the back, quoted in the Deadline Hollywood article, globalist Rupert Murdoch is quoted as saying, so Obama has thrown in his lot with Silicon Valley paymasters who threaten all software creators with piracy, plain thievery, which is actually true. So I guess Rupert Murdoch does occasionally tell the truth. Now, shifting gears out of that, UN soldiers from sex abuse video freed in Haiti. This is standard fare for the UN everywhere they go. UN soldiers are the most vicious war crimes committing military I've ever seen in modern history. But that's what the local Haitians have basically put up. That's an actual photo or a composite of photos of Haitians protesting. Over a year ago, the Haitians said They're bringing diseases here like cholera and other things that we've never had, polio. The UN soldiers are bringing it, and we think it's on purpose because it's spreading in all the camps that they run. There's a lot of other aid camps run by other groups, private groups, no problems. It's in the UN camps, and they're abusing us. And the Western media said that's a conspiracy theory. You know, these Haitians just don't appreciate all the wonderful help they've been given. Well, now it's admitted, the raping, the killing, the torturing, and that, yes, major studies are out. The main diseases have been brought in by the UN rape keepers. You've heard of oath keepers. These are child rape keepers. And they've now been released, even though there's videos of them raping children, teenagers, men, you name it. They have an insatiable appetite. And so I thought that I would show you a few news articles here from just the last few years. Just type into the search engine, the NSA globalist search engine, Google or whatever you use, UN sex crimes, UN sex slavery, child kidnapping, UN, and you'll see their exploits. I mean, they get caught routinely and never get in trouble. Here's London Independent, UN shame over sex scandal. And it just breaks down how all over the world, everywhere they go, the public just runs in abject fear because they don't just rape you or kill you or roast you over open flames. There's photos of that. You think I'm joking, just type in UN peacekeepers roast children. I'm not going to show it here, but you can look at it if you want. They didn't get in trouble for that either. In that case, it was Belgian peacekeepers roasting Somali children. Here's another one. Second Russian firm punishes staffer for sex abuse on UN work. There's Reuters. Here's another one. Peacekeeper sex scandals linger on screen and off. That's the New York Times. Here's a key Chicago Tribune article from 2005, because this was accompanied by congressional hearings. UN stalls on human trafficking. Pentagon has yet to ban contractors from using forced labor. And if you actually watch these congressional hearings, you can just type in UN sex scandal, DynCorp sex scandal hearings into YouTube. You can watch them. They've been uploaded in the last few years. Well, we uploaded some of them. And it's congressional hearings, and they're saying, so they kidnap the children here and there and fly them to these facilities, and this group's connected to slave labor. And the Pentagon head, Defense Sec Rumsfeld says, yeah, they're allowed to do that, and they're not going to get in trouble. But there's the Chicago Tribune. Nobody gets in trouble for that. Continuing, here's another one, London Telegraph. UN staff accused of raping children in Sudan. They weren't accused, they videotaped it. Here is another one, UN peacekeeping contractors charged with sexual abuse. Here's another one, peace at what price? UN crimes in the Congo. Here's another one, DynCorp and Halliburton sex slave scandal won't go away. That's a Prison Planet article with links to all the admissions and congressional testimony. Here's another BBC article, peacekeepers abusing children as young as 6 are being sexually abused by peacekeepers and aid workers. I mean, that's what it's made up of. I mean, this is a legion of child rapers. Here's another one, the blue helmets, sex exploitation, sex trafficking, and organizational culture in UN peacekeeping operations. These are big, college papers and PhD reports on it. It's just giant. I mean, that's who runs the New World Order at top and bottom, and that's what they're into. So that's the type of stuff we're dealing with here, my friends. And then that's only the proverbial tip of the iceberg. Just look into it for yourself, because there's all these groups in Hollywood is all against sex abuse and sex trafficking, but it's always little low-level stuff. Never giant C-130s with 3-year-olds loaded on board being taken to be raped and shot in the head in snuff films. I mean, this comes out in Russian and Italian TV. And, of course, the globalists kill all the reporters involved. I mean, go look at it. It's come out. I mean, it's like, whoa. It's beyond movies like Hostel, and stuff with torture. That's low level, the recreational torturing people to death. And it's just a giant, huge industry of people that just need more. And they feed on Central, Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and Russia. But now the CPS has been called, DynCorp is the biggest private contractor for CPS in the U.S. They're the ones that take your kids. That's why they look like pot-bellied pedophiles, because they are, many of them. Okay. We have a clip from Haiti. Sure, let's go ahead and go to that.
Many residents have come to believe the UN troops are doing more harm than good. Haitians have taken to the streets to demand the UN troops be sent home, following allegations involving sexual abuse against local residents by the soldiers themselves.
We start this protest to tell them to leave our country.
The protests were triggered by this cell phone video, incredibly made by UN troops from Uruguay, one with his pants down, apparently abusing a local teenage boy. The troops, still in their uniforms, laugh as the boy screams out for help.
All right, that's a clip from ABC News, Brian Ross, which is only the tip of the iceberg again. They're like, the Haitians claim this is going on. Here's some video. Why doesn't ABC News? I played that because at least they're covering some of it instead of saying it's a conspiracy theory. Why doesn't ABC News talk about DynCorp and Halliburton? You know, we've gotten death threats over this when we cover it, but I'm going to still cover it. Okay? Let's talk about what's really going on. Okay, let's get into censorship that's going on. We've got a big report out. And if you want stuff like this exposed, you need to support the alternative media, not the globalist media that is running all of this stuff. And we've got a big article at Infowars.com. It's very important to get out to people. Google is already using SOPA, like censorship. Google blacked out at least their name, not their NSA tracking system yesterday, to protest SOPA, because SOPA basically does damage the internet itself and takes power from Google. Google, though, already, and we have this in the article, their admissions, when stuff is, quote, critical of government, they ask them to take it down. Even in the U.S., they take videos and articles down. So they've already delisted us off their news services to try to shut down Infowars and Prison Planet. They're already playing God. So everybody freaked out about the recording industry and others and the feds wanting to come in and take over the web. The globalists, the Google heads that go to Bilderberg, they want the whole thing for themselves. They just don't want government that they basically control stepping in on what they're doing. So Google is already using SOPA-like censorship. Web giant blacklists websites, follows government orders to remove material. You need to get this report out to everybody. We've all got to stand together or hang separate when it comes to this First Amendment. Continuing, Congress retreats on SOPA and PIPA. For now, because of the incredible opposition, the last thing they want is to see us get together and then actually defeat them. But that's happened here, so they're going to later try to creep back in and restrict the web. But I interviewed today one of the fathers of the whole free software movement, and he said that this was really, really buoying and exciting to see this big of an awakening. So this is very, very positive. Humanity is certainly starting to wake up. So congratulations to everybody out there who's getting involved. You're having a big effect. Continuing, Congress, again, retreats on that. And Rand Paul has vowed to block internet censorship bills that they're still claiming they're stripping out the bad provisions of, but are bringing to a vote next Thursday. And Rand Paul has come out and said that he is going to filibuster and try to block that any way he can. So that's why we elected him. He's a chip off the old block. Continuing here, there's an Infowars.com story. Breaking news, cancer drugs make tumors more aggressive and deadly. Yes, in many cases they do. A study just published in the January 17th issue of the Journal of Cancer Cells concludes that anti-angiogenic therapies, which shrink cancer by cutting off tumors and blood supply, may be killing the body's natural defense against cancer by destroying the cells that likely serve as important gatekeepers against cancer, progression, and metastasis. And it goes on. That's why we've got about a 15% chance generally on chemotherapy of surviving. And they've known this all along. They take cheap bug poison and they patent it, kind of like a $10 bottle of fish oil. They've now patented, and they've now come out as a drug company. It's $200 instead of $10 for it. Well, instead of a can of Raid that'll start hurting your whole body so fast-growing cells get hurt the most, instead of a can of Raid that's $2, they say $2,000 per treatment. And that's literally what it is. It's a cocktail of just bug poison. And they make billions and billions and billions in the U.S. alone off this each year. And of course, that's separate reports I've read over the years, and scientists and cancer doctors that we've talked to. But it goes on to say that these systems that the chemotherapy kills cover blood vessels and support their growth. And I can't tell you how many people I know, family members, you name it, who get cancer, breast cancer in one case, and then defeat it by cutting off the breast, all the rest of it, when it turns out surgery, you know, just a small part would have been better. And then 5 years later get a blood leukemia and are told they're going to die because the chemotherapy did it. I mean, this is known. It's not like this is just now coming out. But hey, if you can charge somebody $2,000 for a can of Decon or Raid, okay, I mean, it's a beautiful thing for the New World Order. Continuing, Fox News is reporting 12 high school students suffering with Tourette's-like illness at one school alone. TV 13 WHAM News is reporting on this in Leroy High School in Leroy, New York. And, of course, it turns out that they all had just gotten the vaccine recently, all pressured into it, and so they're now just gibbering and saying things uncontrollably. Did you know narcolepsy, Guillain-Barré's, Tourette's, all these other neurological disorders are directly linked to the fact that vaccines are causing autoimmune flare-ups in the brain? I had Dr. Russell Blaylock, brain surgeon, neurologist, on just yesterday, breaking that down. In fact, I think we've got a video clip of this, don't we? Here's a clip of what's happening there.
Wednesday evening, over 100 parents and students at Leroy Junior Senior High School came to find answers about 12 girls with mysterious tics, which started back in September. James DuPont's 17-year-old daughter is one of those girls.
You're just not getting any answers. You want to know something? If my daughter had a diagnosis and I knew about it, and I would as her parent, I would tell you that. I'm talking about something that just comes on within a couple of weeks, and these kids are just totally normal, and then next thing you know, they're going blah, and their arms are swinging. And
yeah, and they call it Tourette's syndrome. Ladies and gentlemen, that's neurological damage. I mean, I talked to the nurses, I talked to the doctors. They force them in these hospitals through fraud to take the shots, and in a big hospital, one person will die, one gets paralyzed for a month, others are having seizures. Remember with the Gardasil shots, when that got pushed on the public? All the different athletes and people that were suddenly in comas and the deaths? They know. But in the past, when drugs were out there hurting people, they got recalled. Now they don't recall them. They give them government liability protection with your tax money. And, of course, I separately have read the reports about these brain damage and the neurological problems and the girls blurting stuff out and boys blurting stuff out. It's neurological. They just call it Tourette's when you're brain damaged. And no one's going to tell these parents, so that's why we're there telling you. You wonder why the school's having all these problems? Wonder why folks are having seizures? It's the vaccines. I mean, it's like you go get your kid a shot when they're 18 months old, they're talking, you go into the doctor, they get the shot, they have a convulsion in the car, they never talk again. Sometimes they die. Of course the doctor that just killed your kid is not going to say it's the shot. But I mean, you know, if you drank a glass of wine and you died, they'd know it was the wine. They'd test it. If you ran out in the street and got run over, they wouldn't say, gee, why is your back broken? You got run over by a truck. They know what's going on. We've got a Patriot quote for you here as we get ready to go to break. It's from Benjamin Franklin. We must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately. And we've got that quote today because I've pointed out that you see the COINTELPRO, you see the disinformation, you see the attackers in national media, international media, government, ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, really creepy groups, constantly attacking Infowars.com, constantly attacking PrisonPlanet.com, constantly attacking yours truly, constantly going after us. And it's because they're scared. I take that as a badge of courage. I take that as the certification that we're teleprompter free, that we know what we're talking about, that we've reversed engineered what the globalists are doing, and we're over the target getting the flag. But we are being censored more and more. As Cass Sunstein said, they would hire armies of people, White House regulations are, to pose as alternative media, to cause infighting. You're only going to see that increase. God knows what's coming next. It's because we're having an effect. So pray for us, support us, become members at PrisonPlanet.tv. If you're watching this out there on internet land, it's on every night, 7 o'clock, live, fresh show. sometimes taped to air. PrisonPlanet.tv, got a 15-day trial going right now. And you have funded us. You've made us strong, those of you that have supported us. But if you're not a PrisonPlanet.tv member, all my films, my book, Paul Watson's book out of print, so many other films we've been authorized to post, 9 years in April of material. And you can also share your passcode with up to 6 people. So it's really 15 cents a day for 6 memberships. So PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't do it without that dedicated crew out there that is totally passionate about what they're doing. Darren McBreen. We've got, of course, Rob Dew. We've got Marcos Morales. We've got all the rest of the people that make what we do here possible. We've got John Bound. We've got, but everybody, the entire crew of this place, from the secretaries and the customer service people, everybody, to the folks in the shipping department, to the video editors, the graphics people, you make this transmission possible. So to the crew, it's really wonderful working with people that are so passionate, because they don't sit there and get given their talking points every day. You know, that's what's incredible. I want to say this in closing. There aren't talking points. This is the only place in media anywhere where I can roll in at 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning, 30 minutes before airtime on the radio, because I've already been researching all night in the morning. I've IM'd some stories I want to be top stories. I've sent them who I want to be a guest the next day or whatever. They've already got the guest I wanted the day before. And I come in and I talk to them during a few breaks while they're getting the TV show ready, making graphics. And they're just looking at reality too. They already picked the top stories I would pick. They already have the same analysis. They already understand. They've already clicked. And we just put ads in Craigslist and hired these folks. I mean, if you've been in the media, like the journalists that work here, and you come and see what we're covering, the legislation, it's just the truth. There's not some White House or government talking point like Fox or CNN to spin what's happening. We sit here and we understand the overall paradigm, and so it's just great. It's very exciting. And what's even more exciting is we're replicating these ideas, this understanding of the globalist. From the globalist perspective, we look at it from the globalist perspective, but we're the good guys. And we bring you the connections, the connection of the dots, the overall globalist strategy and grand plan. And exposing this, other people aren't getting the download of our info. We're simply saying, open your eyes, look, see what we've seen, see what you notice, tell us what you see. And the public's the same. You make points in the comments on these videos that are more thought-provoking and more deep than I could ever, understand. I mean, together we're learning more exponentially as a computer, as the internet connected to all the minds out there. We are coming together through individualism collectively, and our power is unstoppable if we just realize we have it. I'm getting chills and you're getting chills because you know how real this is. There's a human survival mechanism. All this high-tech tyranny, all the poisoning, all of that is because the globalists are scared of us. But our species is ancient, ladies and gentlemen. We don't even know where we really come from. We have no idea. We have a sense of how ancient we are. We're on a planet in the middle of gorgeous deep space. I mean, think about it. And our species is the smartest, most incredible thing. The music, the literature, the art, the beauty. The globalists are always telling us we're crap, so we think we're garbage and act like it. No, we're incredible, made in the image of the creator of the universe. Think about that. We're amazing, and you know you are. And you know the truth when you hear it. That's why they're so desperate that you never see it, that you never have a connection to it. Because I'm not here telling you what to think. I'm telling you what you already knew and letting you know you're not alone, and you let us know we're not alone. All right, that's it. We're going to break. Rob Dew's coming in with a bifurcated transmission with our guest to break down the latest on Iran. It's key information. Stay with us, and Lord willing, we'll be back tomorrow 11 a.m. on the Radio Central, and back tomorrow night 7 o'clock, Infowars Nightly News, and back this Sunday 4 to 6 p.m. God bless you all.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country. I have since the time that my mom took that position when she ran in 1970 as a U.S. Senate candidate. I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it. And I sustain and support that law and the right of a woman to make that choice.
But I believe the world is getting warmer. I can't prove that, but I believe, based on what I read, that the world is getting warmer. And number two, I believe that humans contribute to that.
Governor Romney, as president, would you have signed the National Defense Act as written?
Yes, I would have, and I do believe that it's appropriate to have in our nation the capacity to detain people who are threats to this country, who are members of Al-Qaeda.
So will ich und so wollen wir bauen und arbeiten an der Wiederaufrichtung unseres deutschen Volkes. Deutsches Volk, 4 Jahre, und ich schwöre dir, so wie wir und so wie ich in dieses Amt eintrat, so will ich dann gehen. Ich tat es nicht um Gehalt und nicht um Lohn, ich tat es um deiner selbst willen.
Internationally, President Obama has adopted an appeasement strategy. He believes that America's role as leader in the world is a thing of the past. I believe a strong America must and will lead the future. He doesn't see the need for overwhelming American military superiority. I will insist on a military so powerful no one would ever think of challenging it.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Welcome back. It's Infowars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew, sitting in for Alex. Normally, this was supposed to be the time when I turn and interview Pepe Escobar. This was supposed to happen, but we have not been able to reach him. He is in Asia and about 13 hours ahead of us. So we will not be talking to Pepe Escobar right now. But we did look on the Drudge Report. A lot of interesting stuff going on. It seems like Anonymous is going on a rampage. The Wall Street Journal reports FBI charges 7 with online piracy. And it seems the FBI shut down one of the most popular file-sharing websites, Mega Upload, and announced the arrest of 4 people behind a global crackdown of suspected online pirates. So Mega Upload's based in Hong Kong. It was knocked offline on Thursday. Claimed it had 50 million daily users, and that's a lot. And so they got knocked down, and 15 minutes later, Anonymous takes down government and record label sites. So you have this coordinated attack on Mega Upload and then a coordinated response. So it's like they must have known it was coming, or everybody, was in on the game. So here, go back to the other story. You're moving a little too quick for me there. Marcos is kind of running one-man show. Popular file-sharing website Mega Upload shut down on WTOP, and basically, the indictment says that Mega Upload is accused of costing copyright holders at least $500 million in lost revenue, and that was from the indictment unsealed. And Mega Upload comes back and says that the vast majority of their traffic is legitimate and they're here to stay. If the content industry would like to take advantage of our popularity, we are happy to enter into a dialogue. We have some good ideas. Please get in touch. Well, and then you go to the next headline. Anonymous goes on Mega Upload revenge. And we got a list here. It looks like the sites that they are claiming that they've attacked. They said they knocked off RIAA's site, Universal Music Group, MPAA.org. And those sites are either unavailable or moving very slow. Also, they're attacking the U.S. Copyright Office, the major record label BMI, and La Resistance Est Internationale, the French Copyright Authority. So it looks like now you've got, this is going to be interesting day tomorrow, apparently, on this news coming out now. You know that the Justice Department and people like Lieberman and all those who want to go about our rights, this is going to bring SOPA right back into it after we've had this show of force of people coming in and saying, no, we don't want this type of censorship on the web. Well, now they're going to say, well, now we need this type of censorship on the web for your own protection. Because now a group like Anonymous, who has no members that we know of, no voice, nobody leading this movement, now they've suddenly come out and can just take down sites on a whim, and they have nothing, no one is there to stop them. So you're going to see a lot of war drum beating tomorrow against going after the internet. And finally, I want to focus on this last Politico article. Obama touts Magic Kingdom. So Obama went and did a speech in front of that iconic castle out there. And he said, this is a land where we want to do big things. I want America to be the top tourist destination in the world. Tourism is a #1 service we export, and that means jobs. More money spent on tourists means more businesses can hire more workers. It's a pretty simple formula. Well, yeah, it's a pretty simple formula, especially when we're becoming more and more like a third world nation. So yeah, if you look at third world nations, their biggest economy for the most part is tourism. So basically Obama's admitting at this point that we are a third world country. Let's get used to it. We're not going to be manufacturing anything anymore. We're not going to be innovating. We're a place for people to come who want to have a cheap vacation. And so it's kind of, I guess, apropos that he's doing that in front of the Magic Kingdom. I almost said the United Kingdom. And, you know, if you want to increase tourism, Obama, let me give you a bit of advice. Get rid of the TSA. Stop groping people when they want to travel. And stop turning our parks into these weird little camps where people run around with guns and yell at everybody that they're hurting the earth. I mean, that's how you increase tourism here in the United States, not by groping people everywhere they want to go and sending out, you know, forest rangers to yell at people for, you know, walking on the earth that we're supposedly, you know, touting as a tourism joint. That is all we have for today. Apologize for those tuning in for the Pepe Escobar interview. He was unable, we were unable to get a hold of him. He is 13 hours ahead of us in Asia. And, you know, we'll see what he has to say another time. That's it for Infowars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew. I'll actually be sitting in tomorrow doing the entire show. And should be great. So join us then. If you're not a member of PrisonPlanet.tv, please consider joining. It's very easy to do. Go to InfoWarsNews.com, and there you can sign up. We got a 15-day free trial. Give us a try. We're way better than the mainstream media, I'll tell you that, even on our shoestring budget that we work off of. So that's all we have for tonight. Thanks for watching.